Well, welcome to Hamilton County TV and the Coach David Sharpe Show. Welcome, Coach.
Hi, Perry. Good to see you, as always.
Well, Coach, Friday night was not probably one of the better performances.
No, it was not.
That you thought of. Let's talk a little bit about that game in Southeastern.
So I think our conference, we're playing Brownsburg this week, and I think our conference clearly has three teams that are elite and tremendous, and Westfield, HSE, and now Brownsburg. So we knew our margin for error was going to be quite slim with Westfield and quite slim with HSE. We got off to the exact same start against HSE as we did against Westfield. We went 3 and out, and then we have a disaster on special teams. This ball goes in the end zone for a safety. But so we talk about that margin for error, and when we look back at first, second, and third play of the game, I was quite upset because we had 3 very, 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 very correctable mistakes, and we knew that this could be the ball game. If we don't go on a 15-play drive to open up the game and gobble up 6 or 7 minutes, that we could be in trouble. So first play of the game, we don't quite get a stalemate on a 2 technique, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but for us it's an enormous deal, and it kind of screwed up the fundamentals of the play on first down. We got a gain of 0. Okay, so second and 10, we run a power, and I thought we blocked it quite well, and we decide to cut slightly outside instead of a slight inside cutback lane, which I think we could have got 4, 5, 6 yards on and got to a more of a third and manageable, but we did not. And then on our third down play, I think there might have been a miscommunication. We don't block a 5 technique, and we make that block in our sleep, a play side 5 technique. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why we didn't make that block. And that was kid made a good play, and we have to punt. Like I said, the ball goes in the end zone. Then they get a good return on the free kick from the 20-yard line, and of course they're so good on offense. They're just very good. They go right at you, and then they have enough stuff to attack you on the edges, and they score. They go for 2 on a very well-designed shovel pass, and it's 10-0 before you can blink an eye, and it's just like you could feel like, why does this have to happen to us? But it happens because they're very good, and we let them off the hook in the first minute of the game, our first offensive sequence. But incredibly proud of how we got down 10. We're going a 14-play drive, nickel and diming them, dispersing the ball to a lot of different guys in that drive. But we were unable to punch it in. But I just felt like, man, if we could have punched that thing in, made it 10-7, I think it's definitely a different ball game. We decided to go for a field goal. We mishandled the exchange there, and we get 0 points out of it. And a few plays later, it's 17-0. And we kind of sat our offense down. We felt a little. You could sense some frustration, but it's like, listen, we went 3 and out. It's 10-0. We go on a 14-play drive, and now it's 17-0. It's like, just ignore the score. You're playing quite well. We know what we can correct, but it was that gigantic 17-point hole. We get down, and we get to midfield. We cross the 50-yard line, actually. We get a 2nd down and 2, which for us we're incredibly happy with, and we get a yard and a half a yard. We get stuffed on 4th and 1, and we get stuffed on 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, and 4th and 1, and we don't deserve to win if we can't get that. We are geared for those situations, and I was very upset with that. And then they're able to make it 24-0 at halftime. And the second half, we lost. I believe it's our first fumble that we lost in conference play, which I knew that something like that would happen eventually. Kind of knock on wood, but like for us, we don't turn the ball over. That's the one thing that we have going for us offensively. And in theory, if you would have told me, like, hey, you'll have 1 fumble in the conference season going into week 8, I'd be like, that's tremendous. That means we're going to be in games. But this game we were not in. Okay, but I am very proud of our ball security and how diligent our offensive coaches, Coach Jasper and Coach Jake Skelton, with their constant ball security drills. And we know that we are, very simple, vanilla offense to many, but if we can get those 3, 4, 5, 6 yard gains and not turn the ball over. Feel like we can put the ball in the end zone on any team in our league 3 or 4 times. And if we can get to 21 or 28 points and get a couple of key stops and not turn the ball over and play soundly on special teams, feel like we can be in the fourth quarter against anybody in our league. And it was just, we kind of want to get this one ancient history, forget about it. They played very, very well, and they've got a very good team. Like I said, we knew the margin for error was very slim, and they were able to do what they do, which is run the ball, and they ran it right at us, and it was quite embarrassing. Our front seven is a little embarrassed, and we're going to see another great rushing attack here from Brownsburg on Friday.
Coach, are you a little concerned about, because in past games, we offensively in the rushing game, we've done a great job, and it seemed like Friday night the yardage, I mean, we only had 141 yards rushing, and of that 141,
yeah,
Logan had, what, 130 or 132, something like that.
Yeah, we did not.
concern
It is a concern. We got we had another 3 and out back when they pinned us deep after their punt down on the 10-yard line or so, and we just didn't have the ball very much. And like I said, our first play of the second half, we got about a gain of 7, but we fumbled it. That was our fumble, and then by then there was that running clock and the game's over. So we're breaking down our film offensively. It's like we don't have a whole lot of snaps to break down. It was just kind of, wow, the game's over before you know it, and that can't happen again. That cannot happen.
Coach, let's switch gears a little bit, and like you've already mentioned, Brownsburg's always a good football program. It's always been, and this is not any different this year. And the one thing about it is you know, they're 5-2 on the season. They've played not only playing in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference, they also play a couple of very difficult teams.
Right, 5-2 with an asterisk, because
Yeah.
one of those is to Cathedral,
Yeah.
which is one of the best teams in the country, and then
Absolutely.
the other one was a very close game to Westfield, which is one of the best teams in the state, of course. So.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Brownsburg and you know, because offensively, like you said, they'll run the football, and Marcus, number 20, is a good running back. He's gained 654 yards this season.
Yep.
In 6 games, and they have a couple other. Of course, their quarterback Whitaker can also run the ball, and then they got Sharpe, who's gained 352, and number 25, and he's only a sophomore. So let's talk about that running game, because they're
Right.
they're
They're very strong in the running game. You said Marcus, of course, he played against us last year as a sophomore, and his brother, of course, is running back for Ball State. So he's very good. They are a little more conservative-minded running game than, say, some of the other schools that we've played. They don't throw the ball downfield a lot, but they do like to. They will throw, to the short flats quite a bit, but they feel pretty confident with their running backs, offensive line. The quarterback's a very good runner too. So, and they have a tremendous defense. So you can kind of tell by their games, they know their defense is going to shut down anybody or give them a great chance to shut down everybody. So they have no problem playing a low-scoring, close game. You look back at their Zionsville game was 19-6. The Fishers game was, I believe, was 10-7 at halftime. And like I said, they're comfortable in that, knowing that they're going to get great special teams and defensive play from those 2 units.
And the one thing about them, they're 4-1 in the conference, so they still got some things to play for if someone can knock off the Shamrocks. But
Absolutely, yeah.
they're still going to bring it this week. I know that in some games when you get towards the end of the season, and we're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old young men, that sometimes there may be a letdown, but we won't see that with Brownsburg this week. So.
No, and like I said, it starts with their defensive line. I feel like they probably have 4 Division I defensive linemen, and I don't know if they're Division I or high-level Division II, but they're amazing. Those four kids that they play, Street and Leighton Jones and the Jackson kid, and like those kids they're big, thick, strong, and they really rely on that, and they tangle up every offensive line that we've seen film on, and Westfield was able to have a little bit of success offensively, but they played Westfield as well as anybody can, and that definitely got our attention. And we know that our game plan's the same. We feel very confident that we can go right at them, and we can get them into those long drives. And I just wish that we could show those 10, 15 play drives back to back to back. We haven't done that in quite some time, and it's always a great drive followed by a letdown, followed by a good drive, and we're just looking for consistency across the board. But I felt last year we played Brownsburg pretty well. I felt we hung in there as long as we physically could before their extreme talent that eventually took over. But that's what we're looking to do this time, and I feel like we can take them deep into the second half.
Coach, one question. What's your thoughts about is the team as a whole still very positive in this game?
They are.
And thinking that
they are.
And it'd be nice if we could get a couple of victories here at the end going into the sectional. I mean, because we're getting ready to start. We got this game and we got one more. We don't want to forget these two conference games because they're very, very important.
Oh, no, yeah.
We also have the sectional, so you kind of just do a race on the board and you get to start over come sectional time. So it'd be great for us to play well these last two games. Does the team feel pretty confident?
I think so. Oh, definitely. Every week's the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter what level you play at. If you don't treat game day like the Super Bowl, you're not going to enjoy the game. You're going to eventually fall out of love with the game, right? So we've told the kids all week long, it's like, we're struggling. We've lost quite a few in a row, but if I'm on defense, I might slant tremendously, get hands on, knock back an offensive lineman, do my job 110%, and I look and way over there and they complete a 40-yard pass. And that can be frustrating. Offensively, I might block somebody perfectly. I get a pancake block, and I look behind me and it's a loss of 2. And it's like, well, I did my job tremendously, but the results are... That is frustrating as a football player. But that just means we have to continue to pick each other up. And we play very well 9 or 10 positions on O&D, and then there just happens to be a weak link, and we never know where that weak link's coming from. But that's football. We got to fix it and stay together. But I think our kids feel confident individually. They're like, I'm doing my job at a pretty high level against high-level competition. It's just these teams we play, they do have speed advantages on us, and if we are not in the exact right spot at the exact right time, they can outclass us to a certain extent, and they can get a big run, or they can stop what could have been a big play. So we keep saying margin for error. We keep looking to be perfectionists with the angles that we take, and we take absolutely nothing for granted. And if we continue with that approach, eventually we're going to get off to a good start. One of these days we're going to get off to that. We're going to be up 14-0, and then it's up to us to finish this off. I hope we don't get this mindset that bad things are going to happen in the first quarter, because it kind of feels like that is our mindset right now, and we have to change that. But as we had a great practice yesterday, as we always do. The kids are very, very, very resilient, and they're very excited to take on another top 5 team in the state.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that you and I have talked. This is week 7, so we've talked 7 times about how difficult this conference is from top to bottom. I mean, there's not a weak link in this, even though some of the records are a little bit different than some of the others. But a perfect example is the Westfield-Avon game last week. Avon hasn't won a game this year, and for a half
they gave him a pretty good shot at it.
A pretty good shot at it. So I know it probably had Westfield a little nervous over there. So
exactly, and that's our goal. We know that we're a tough out. We know we're not a pushover. We're not a cupcake. And when this weather starts getting cold and we'll do a rain dance before games. We don't mind that at all.
Sure.
We know that we're going to be a tough out. We're going to fight to the very, very end, and the focus remains. It's a brand new week. We always say 10 p.m. on Friday, ancient history. Let's get ready. Win or lose, get ready for the next week.
All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, and wish you the best of luck. Hamilton County TV will be there to broadcast the last regular season home game at Beaver Material Field before we move in the brand new stadium next year.
We had a kid make a comment. I think it was Jake Long said, or Drew or Jake. One of them said, "It's the last regular season game ever at Beaver," and I was like, "Well, Avon JV game's the last regular season," so we had to specify that.
Yeah.
But no, it is exciting because the stadium is. You can see they keep making progress week by week by week, and I'm sure bittersweet for many people, especially alums like you.
Absolutely,
But
times move on.
times move on. Yeah, yeah.
And we're due for an upgrade. I mean, and I would say that we're probably moving up to probably one of the best stadiums in the state of Indiana come next season.
It's going to be exciting, and however this season ends, it should give us a huge jolt of energy, which is what we need. We're struggling through this losing streak, but the kids need to know, like, the community has built us the palace of all palaces, and we better be amped up, ready to go, and embrace having this wonderful new stadium next year.
Thank you, Coach, and I appreciate it.
Thanks. Go Millers.